sort of look, your eyes or your camera?
You make me want it so bad.
Where have I heard that before?
In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the most beloved film types of the past, Portra 160nc. The NC standing for naughty color, or neutral. Neutral's fine too. But in this video, we're going to be comparing and contrasting against Kodak's current line of Portra, as well as shooting in different lighting conditions. And we're going to see how 160nc stacks up against people's favorite film of all time. Yeah, all time. Has this older brother paved the way for today's Portra, or are we just pining over the loss of its NC counterpart? Well, you'll be the judge of that. So let's dive face first into this Portra 160nc, just like a bachelor's lover. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should look it up. It's kind of crazy. Now, first things first, I want to thank today's sponsor. You, and you, and you. Yeah, you back there. And especially Jordan Harmon. Jordan actually donated this film to the channel for scientific purposes, and hopefully for some fun entertainment. So, go give him some love, because without him, this video wouldn't exist. Thanks, Jordan. And everyone thank Jordan, too. Everyone, come on. Thank him. As most of you know, Portra is literally everyone's favorite film. And if it's not, well, it's too bad, because Fujifilm shat the bed once again and decided to use all their silver highlights for their new medicines. And if you don't believe me, just look at what they did to their cinema line. Like, Turna, I love you. But we're not here to cry about Fuji. That's another video. Portra is on the tip of every film photographer's tongue, just like that piercing you got last week. No, it won't make you look younger. It's the film that most people recommend when you're first starting out in this addicting journey. Why? Honestly, it's because it's hard to f*** up. They're not special. Sorry, I'm older now and just getting more cynical. Get used to it. Now, as you're aware, Portra 160nc is expired. This particular batch of film expired 2 years before I graduated high school. Damn, look at that head of hair. For those who want to place me, 2005 is the expiration date. That means I decided to rate the film between ISO 64 and 80. Why the difference? I don't know, because I wanted to. I'll do what I want. Overall, the one stop for every decade rule rang true. Spot on, worked like a charm. While shooting this film, I also decided to shoot two different cameras, GW690 and my Pentax 6.7. So naturally, when someone needs to test out some new old film, you have to call on a shooting buddy. So 50 Shades of Grey and I decided to go fight some Gorn on an unknown planet. And for my weapon of choice, I needed the biggest 120 negative I could find, the Fuji GW690. I thought shooting Portra 160nc at Vasquez Rocks would actually be perfect for the landscape. Nothing was going to be super saturated, so I thought the natural colors would do pretty well. The only downside was later in the day, 64 ISO was just, it's a little too slow. There's a few kind of blurry shots because my tremorous hands couldn't hold still.
Your eyes or your camera?
That's a pretty view.
Overall, I think the images from Vasquez Rocks look really good. The highlights and the shadow details were insane. There was no clipping or muddy shadows. So, let's dive into a small history lesson real quick. In 1998 or 1999, depending on what blog you follow, Star Wars The Phantom Menace, that's the wrong channel. Portra was introduced to the world. Photographers' frontal lobes exploded. It was a messy sight. But what we got was the beginning of the world's best still film. It came in two different varieties, Portra NC and Portra VC in both 160 and 400 speed ISO. NC stood for neutral color and VC for vivid color. The NC and VC varieties were introduced to address the contrast and saturation levels when printing in the darkroom. See, scanning to a computer wasn't there yet, and most prints were made in the darkroom. People weren't making prints from scans, they were making prints from the negative. Some wanted more neutral colors, and then others wanted more vivid colors to their prints. People really seem to love Portra NC. VC, on the other hand, some people said that the colors could be just a little too much, but who cares? Like what you like. Next, I wanted to see how the film performed at night. So naturally, Jason and I hit the town once more. That night, I decided to load up my Pentax 6.7. I really wanted to see what that Portra NC looked like on my Takumar 105. And, of course, the Pentax would just protect me against unfamiliar faces. I did also have some Cinesto with me. I know how you film shooters are. You do anything for another hit of 800T.
We'll do it 18 seconds, yo!
So you want to spill your secrets?
Yeah, shoot Cinestill 800T and shoot it 4 stops overexposed. Trust me.
Secret! I might have to take that again. Jason, look at us. When in doubt, Pro missed it out. One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and 1 for the good luck.
I was actually pretty surprised at the neon signs. They were actually pretty saturated. I mean, they weren't balls to the wall, vivid, super vivid saturated, but the color was there. The neutral colors that I was getting at Vasquez Rocks were just the neutral colors at Vasquez Rocks. Had nothing to do with the saturation level because of it being expired. Performs well. Performs great. It's actually kind of cool to print. I bought it in larger the other day, so welcome to my new addiction. Now in 2010 and 2011, when Portra was just updated to, wait for it, Portra It was a blend of NC and VC. At this time, people started making prints from digital scans. It's much easier to adjust the contrast and saturation inside software than it was to dodge and burn in the darkroom. And for a little comparison, here are some recent shots that I took with the new kid on the block, Portra. That night, I actually didn't finish the roll. So that next Monday, while walking to the farmer's market, yeah, I know, insert hipster joke here, I get it. But farmer's market, it is fresher. Those tomatoes. I decided to bring my Pentax 6.7 and finish up that roll. Unfound gem. This is actually where I've taken some of my favorite shots all of this year. Sure, it's March, whatever, but still. I think one of my favorite images is the end of a car protruding into the sidewalk, and you see a whole line of trees heading into the distance. I think the colors are so neutral and just work so perfectly for that shot and for the colors of that car. I think I just have to retire now. It's just done. At the end of the day, do you think Portra, formerly known as NC, is better than the current masterpiece produced out of Rochester? It's hard to say. With these darn computers, you can make the new Portra look like Portra NC all day. But if you want to jump into your DeLorean and experience the early 2000s, it's a beautiful stock. But just remember, if you decide to pick some up, ask if it's been cold stored, because we don't want no foggy baloney. That's just gross. Well, I hope this helped you experience films of the past. Kinda wanna try VC now. Gotta get my hands on them. Why am I never satisfied? I should talk to a therapist about that. Yeah, therapist, I did buy more film. So what? I'm actually really bummed that I shot all the rolls. It is actually one of my favorite stocks. I just was so blown away by the images that I got. I just wish I had more. I'm probably gonna go find them and buy them and shoot more. Or I'll just bake it in a computer like we all do now. Well, join me next time where I stare into the camera for 45 minutes straight without talking. You don't believe me? Double dog dare me. Bye.